Salam alaikum, alaikum, bacuenta en sala. Que Sami los acutare hoy, mañana y siempre. I pray that the Most High blesses you guys today, tomorrow, and always. How you guys doing? Don't look at the peanut. Don't look at the peanut. Anyway, I had a question that came in a couple of days ago, and I forgot to try to answer it to the best of my ability. The question was, why are there restrictions in Palo Mayombe, Palo Monte, whichever way you may call it, Palo? Why do we have restrictions? I understand exactly where this question is coming from, because I have experienced this, and I myself have certain restrictions that I have to abide by. And it all has to do, well, not all of it, but the majority of the time, the restrictions have to do with the lineage. What lineage you come from, and what are the treaties and the restrictions that lineage had. You know, and it could be restrictions from food, from restrictions from being not with your spouse at a certain time because of that time of the month for the woman, certain things of that nature, you understand? But I also know, because of a previous Munanso a while back that I was a member of, after initiation, what they did was call a baka. And this baka, that's a reading, a divination process. And in that divination process, they're giving you advice and recommendations and what you should and not do, whether it's physical or anything that has to do with climate, or you shouldn't be out at a certain climate, whether it's raining, whether it's late at night when the sun goes down, you shouldn't be out. You can't eat this food, you cannot eat that food, and all that. And these are things that some houses do. I understand that not all Munansos do this, but there are some that do this. You know, that you will have a certain restriction for certain things. The restrictions that I have, I'm not going to speak upon it, but I understand why, especially on a couple of them. I understand why, because of the people and the traditions that they had, because of how they followed. So, but that's maybe one or two things that I don't really understand the reason why. But that's something for me and my daughter to sit down and speak to, and to see if he could give me more light on that. I just haven't had the time. That hasn't come up in my mind. I just don't do the part that it was restricted for me not to do. Simple as that. Just don't do it. Now, yeah, it takes willpower, and it takes remembrance of what it is. And if you can, and it takes observation, because if it has to do with some type of food, you got to watch the food that you buy in the streets that don't have certain things that you're not supposed to be eating. Simple as that with the food. And you see it so simple, but these days a lot of things got different seasonings or different products in it that sometimes you don't even see on the label. So you just got to be careful. You know, if you have these restrictions with certain foods. Now, the question also went into, this sounds like ocha. And I see where the person is coming from, because yes, when an oba, and I'm only going to speak about an oba, because I don't know if Ifa does this also. They, when in the divination, you could be restricted on certain foods. You could be restricted on wearing certain clothing. You could be restricted on at what time of the day or night you come out. There are restrictions, and these restrictions are said in Ocha that the restrictions that you have could save your life one day. Meaning, there are taboos, right? So in other words, some of them are literal do not do. Do not do, and that's it, do not do. And then some of them are don't do it for your good, and because maybe one day that thing that you don't do could be used to save you or help you. So you wouldn't do it anyway, right? Because who wouldn't want to not do something that in the long run one day you might need it to save your life or something, you understand? So you would abide by it. So I see where the person is speaking about, and yes, there is some syncretism on some of these munanzos that do it because of this reason, because it kind of, they come out of the Ocha practice in Cuba, but there also are munanzos that follow certain things like I do that doesn't have anything to do with Ocha. These are things that have come down to treaties because of the tribal people. They didn't do these things. You understand? But I see where the person is coming from about, sorry, a whole bunch of holes here in Philly. Especially these roads that I'm in. These roads are the old star roads that have got the little blocks, bricks on the floor made out of stone. And they used to have a lot of trolleys that used to come this way. So they still have the rails on the ground and everything. So they used to use these little small stones that look like bricks, but harder, they're rock. Anyway, so yeah, you're going to see houses that some of them at the end of your initiation, either the next day or something, they sit down with you and they'll divine for you on the recommendations, the things that you should and should not do. Like I said, from eating to clothing to going out to different things, to carrying weapons, whatever, they have these things, and it's for your benefit. And some of these come through lineage practices that have been passed down, and then some of them also come from the syncretism with Ocha. That some have picked this up from Ocha and they do this type of thing with the cowrie shells, and they divine with it, and they tell you this and tell you that. And I don't see anything wrong with it, whichever way it is, whether it was picked up because of Ocha and they use it, or because it came from a lineage all the way down that you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, because this is how it was established, and the people don't do this. It's like almost saying the Hebrew Israelites don't eat pork. You understand? They don't eat anything that has swine in it. The Hebrew Israelites, they don't eat food. A lot of them don't eat food from the streets or from anywhere, because they don't know who sacrificed it and whose name it was sacrificed. Let's say that, right? The Muslims, the same thing. That's why you got the kosher for the Israelites, and then you got the halal for the Muslims. They like eating halal food, meaning that when the animal is sacrificed, it's sacrificed using the name of God. They will say in the name of God, and they also won't show the knife to the animal. They will actually don't show the knife. The animal, they don't show it like they're gonna do anything to it. They try to be the less cruel as possible, and they usually sacrifice the animal, cutting the main artery and the esophagus, for the animal won't suffer. No blood going to the brain. If it could be a quick death up here. So this is what I'm speaking about. Things like this. You see, these are traditions. These are belief systems. These are things that people established, and they don't eat it because of whatever they believe in, what they tribe or family established through generations. So this is what I'm talking about, when there are lineages that have these tribal these tribal do's and don't do's, so we have to apply them and respect them, and whether it looks to you like nonsense or not, just don't do it. Because if you cannot hold yourself back from having a limitation that you're capable of doing, that means that you don't have the ability to hold or establish something that has great value and importance. Like, if you tell me you shouldn't wear black socks, okay, to me the not wearing black socks does not make any sense to me. But it was told to me, don't wear black socks because of such thing. Then what is it so hard for me? Why is it so hard for me not to buy white, blue, gray, and all other colors if I want socks? I can't stop wearing black socks? Yes, I can. Whether it makes sense to me or don't. But it was a restriction applied to me. If I can't follow just a little rule of not wearing black socks, then that means when they give me a higher responsibility, I can't hold that either. I won't abide by it. See, so things like this are how we have to think sometimes. And there are taboos, and there are things and reasons why these things are established. So, it gives you something to think about. It gives you some food for thought. It gives you an understanding. And when you look at a lot of tribal people, you will see that they had a lot of taboos. There was a lot of things that, especially the Congo people, were people that had a lot of, belief in things. And it's crazy because a lot of us, Black and Latino people, we have these things, these sayings. Like, we wouldn't do certain things, or knock on wood. Don't utter this word inside the house. Don't whistle inside the house. Don't bring an umbrella in the house. Don't walk under a ladder. Why do the elevators don't have a 13th floor? Why is from 12 it skips? All these things. Ask yourself, why? If nobody believes in that, then why don't they just put a 13th floor number? Oh yeah, you're gonna find some, but a great majority don't have the 13th floor because of Friday the 13th and other reasons. But guys, I just stopped in to say hello, stopped in to talk a little bit about it. Follow your lineage. If you have a restriction, follow it. There's nothing wrong with it. It makes you stronger, to be able to refrain or restrain yourself from something. And I understand when it comes to the food, that's where it gets a little difficult, because if you're a person that you eat a certain type of meat, a certain type of bean, a certain type of grain or something, and then you are restricted to eat that, then I see the difficulty in it. But there's so many other type of beans, there's so many other type of grains, there's so many other type of meats that you can eat with no problem, and just get yourself something that you like, that's as close to what you used to eat, and that's your best now. Well, guys, have a great day. Be blessed. I'm making the donuts like always. This time I'm using sourdough. I'm gonna make some French crullers, and with the least sugar as possible. I'm gonna use stevia because sugar is killing the people. Stay away from sugar, guys. Stay away from the sugar. Sugar is not good for you. We know that sugar is bad. It's good for the brain. We need it, but you have to not consume a lot of sugar. If anything, you should be consuming some salt, good salt, some pink Himalayan salt or some sea salt will be great. A little bit of sea salt inside your water and drink that is good for you. And here and then you could use the regular table salt for the iodine. That's about it, but in little limits, not much. Have a great day. Salam alaikum, Malik Gonzalez, Kasami Lakutare. Always be safe, guys. Thumb up the video. Have a beautiful and wonderful day.